Hi, I'm Kolarale, back with another video on communication skills, and in this video I'm going to share with you my one secret to great communication. This is the rule that rules them all. With this one thing you will be able to move and inspire and influence people to your point of view with ease. But without it, no amount of tips and tricks and techniques of communication will ever really work. So recently we were on holiday and my wife and I went out shopping. She loves to shop, me not so much. But we were in this store when we spotted this wooden rack ladder thing that my wife thought would be pretty cool to use as a towel rail. She's really good at interior design kind of stuff. So we went to buy it, but then I noticed that it had a bit of a defect on one of the rungs of the ladder. So I thought I would try to negotiate ourselves a discount. Now, whilst we were in the queue waiting, an elderly German gentleman came up to us and engaged us in conversation. Now, my wife is Nigerian, but she grew up in Germany, so they really hit it off and were talking about the cities they've been to and, you know, all the old times in Germany and things like that. And when he heard about the defect in the ladder, he simply reached over to the cashier lady and told them that they needed to give us a 10% discount. No discussions, no questions. Turns out he was the owner of the store. We bought it, we were really happy, and we left saying goodbye to the gentleman. And it really just reminded me of what I always say to my clients is the most important thing that you must focus on when it comes to great communication. People ask me often, should I think about my body language or my eye contact or my hand gestures? How do I structure my words and my sentences, and what kind of cadence should I use in my voice? Now, all those things are important when you're trying to become a great communicator. But my number one secret to great communication, the one rule that rules them all, the thing that makes all the difference in how effective you are as a communicator, is connection. Connection, connection. Let me give you an example with two guys that you will of course know, Barack Obama and Donald Trump, the two former presidents of the United States. Now, for those people that love Donald Trump, they buy into whatever he says, no matter how he says it. And if we're honest, a lot of times he's pretty incomprehensible, sometimes lacks logic in what he says, but it doesn't matter for his supporters. They love him, they buy into everything he says. On the flip side, those that don't love him so much, myself included, really think that he talks a lot of nonsense, and it doesn't even matter if he speaks sense at any particular point. We just aren't going to hear it. By contrast, if you love Barack Obama, as I personally did when he was president, you really take everything he says as though it's the gospel truth. You love the way he speaks. You love his coolness, his mannerisms. You love the policies, well, not all of the policies, but most of them that he brings out, because since you feel connected to him, you are buying into what he says and how he says it. By contrast, if you don't love him, well, you just aren't convinced, no matter how much sense he speaks, no matter how cool he is. And he's a pretty cool guy. That is the thing about connection. Connection is the special sauce when it comes to communication. And what you will find if you begin to analyze the way you communicate, you'll see that in those moments when you were on fire, where everything seemed to land, where people were influenced and persuaded by you, it's because primarily they had felt a great connection with you, and so they were carried along with what you said. And by contrast, in those moments where you were saying the things that were very, very logical and entirely right, but somehow people just weren't persuaded and carried along with you, it's because they didn't feel that connection with you. So my number one tip, the rule that rules them all, the secret sauce, the head honcho, however you want to call it, is to achieve a connection, a meaningful connection with the people you are interacting with, your audience, your boss, your peers, your colleagues, your clients. Doesn't matter who it is, you got to focus on achieving a connection. And when you do, it will transform your communication. Hey, I hope that helped. As always, if you want to start working on your communication skills, just reach out to me using one of the links you'll see somewhere on this page, and I will see you on the next video.